Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Thursday edition of the United Agenda with me, Mr. B, bath time, and on Monday, G-Well. We've got quite a big things to talk about today. Well, we probably haven't. We've got two things to talk about. One in particular, Jade and Sancho. Let's get the show on the road. Good evening, guys. How are we? On Monday?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I've had, as I said yesterday, I had an audit. It started, so I'm really proud of myself because I ticked all the boxes. I've done what I needed to do today. Put my head down, had some music on, my headphones. I ignored everybody and just got my work done. And yeah, it's one of them days where I feel like I earned my corn. You know, something. You know, at work sometimes you can glide by, get away with stuff. I've been here so long. I can have days where I actually do nothing. You know. But today I actually had to do proper work, and I actually feel that's why I'm in my dressing gown. I came home and I'm sure, Mr. B, you're smiling, but I'm sure you're the same. You can wing it sometimes at work, can't you? You can get away with stuff. But today I couldn't hide. I had to do my job for like 8 hours. I'm a bit like Sancho.
Oh, a whole 8 hours. What bath time are we doing, man?
Yeah, I did the opposite of a Monday. I completely winged work today and went home an hour early to watch a TV show. I'm an absolute bargain, lads. I tell you, you should be giving me more money for the amount of work I don't do. It's incredible.
Do they know that you went home an hour and a half early?
Yeah.
All right. You just walked.
I just said I'm done and wandered out because I wanted to go and watch a comedy program. I'd seen a clip on YouTube, which I shouldn't have been watching, but it was one of those days where I wasn't getting anything done, so just go home.
Do you think, guys, like in this day of like phones and all that kind of thing, that we get distracted from doing our real work? Because a lot of time I'm on social media, or I go and chat on my phone, or I go and sit in the toilet, and I think, what was I doing before phones and social media? Was I actually doing my work, or was I finding other ways to sort of dodge doing work, you know?
Yeah,
and not just
Skype.
that,
Yeah, you're probably finding other ways.
Yeah, but they can also monitor you as well. They've got a thing now. I'm really careful about going on my computer at work, bringing up all this stuff, because they've got a history, and it's all being watched, I suppose. So they just see all day I'm on YouTube or Facebook or something like that, you know? I shouldn't be saying this because someone from work could be watching, but winging it is...
That's your line of work.
Yeah, winging it.
I don't have wing days. I might have an easier day, but I can't wing my days. But the stuff needs to be delivered, so I don't know how it's gonna wing unless I'm driving past and I throw it straight out the window. There's not much winging I can do. It's just
like Paperboy. Remember that computer game, Paperboy?
Yeah, Paperboy. Not Paint Boy.
Oh dear. All right.
Oh God, guys, just say your highs to a couple of them in the chat, and then we can get.
Big up Vincent Bullock. He's in the house. I love cats. Here again, saying I'm here. What's your next wish? I did nothing to. I loved it. Wasn't work in work. I did nothing at work. Basically, I can love cats saying they did the same. They did nothing at work today. Good for you. Vincent saying here. So I got you was hiding like you was Phil Jones, and you've been caught, so you have to do something. Okay, I get that. And he's also saying you never know who's watching, so be careful what you say. But you could always try to make out your own crazy golf at work. Vincent. Big up to DK Wilson from Texas all the way. Live stream All Stars. Yes, big up DK Wilson. Hope you're doing well, bro. Vincent's funny, isn't he?
Vincent's a character, isn't it? Imagine your first day at work and you meet Vincent, and he's like, "Here's the photocopier, here's the printer, here's the toilet. Come in here. Here's my 18-hole crazy golf course."
Oh, God. That's probably true. He's probably not lying.
Oh God.
All right,
guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ten Hag, we knew he was a disciplinarian. Sancho's had his tweet up for long enough for it to have reached 60 million views. 60 million, yes, on Monday, 60 million views before he took it down. He made his point. Ten Hag's now made his point. For whatever reason, we've lost 150 million pounds worth of right wingers. He's told him he's training on his own. The statement was very short. It's as short as the thing going across the bottom of the screen, to be fair. It was about 12 words. Basically, he's been ordered to train on his own until they find a resolution to the problem. That was the statement. That was it. Finished. There was no extras. There was nothing else. Ten Hag laying down the law, guys. What are we thinking? Is this a bad move on Ten Hag's part? Is it ignorance from Sancho, or does he want out?
Look, there has to be a reaction to what's going on. All eyes on Man United. I was going to say all eyes on me, but I want to start talking about Tupac again. But yeah, all eyes on Man United right now.
Tupac with dreads, yeah?
Back to the topic. Come on, guys. And yeah, there has to be a reaction. The manager has to be seen to be doing something consistent. Like you mentioned, you reminded me the other day, Mr. B, about the laws of Ten Hag. He came with some laws, and if you transgress these laws, there will be punishment, you know. And I call them sins. Transgression of his laws is called a sin in my book, and what he's committed is a sin. And the wages of sin is death, and death means out the club. Now, I'm down with this. You know me. I'm always backing Sancho. I think he's a fabulous player. But clearly, what's done in the dark always comes to light. And what I trust the manager in this respect. I've seen what happened with Ronaldo. I've seen what happened with Rashford. And he's been consistent with it. So I trust the manager on this one. I think I don't think he's got any bias or any personal gripe or anything against Sancho. I think he's given it a fair shot by what happened last season when he sent him away, as we said before, and gave him the care approach. And now he's disrespected it, and he's given him the discipline approach. And this will send shockwaves around football. And other managers look at it and say, boy, you know, we need to start doing this, because I think football's going, as we were just having a discussion yesterday on the show about footballers and their egos today, and, you know, player power and all that kind of thing. Now this is flexing manager power. And I like that, because I think you do have to have discipline. I know we had a discussion about this yesterday about discipline on the show, and we did sort of have a little disagreement about it, but I do think discipline is important. And maybe Ten Hag was watching the show, because now he's got his cane out and beat him and sent him, you know, to face the wall or face the reserves in training. No more first team for you. You sit there and you suffer, and we will deal with you in January. And if we can do without him, people will soon forget, and we can move on and give someone else an opportunity to play. Probably Palestri. I'd love to see that. So yeah, I'm happy with the decision. I don't have no complaints. If you've done wrong, there has to be consequences and repercussions.
I think before I say my piece, because everyone's going to shout at me with what I say, it's probably best to do the comments, and then we can have a clean slate.
All right. I'm interested to what I'm going to speed through these. I want to know what you're saying here. Box is saying Sancho wants out. Big up to Matthew Bassett, by the way. He's in the show. Love you, Matthew. Love Zoe Media House as well. Saying good evening, gents. Matthew saying Sancho's done at United. Don't see a way back for him from this. Box is saying Sancho probably gets a third of his current wages at his next club. DK Wilson, great move by Ten Hag. Everything is on Sancho now. Perfectly handled by the manager. Jay Lee saying, Charlie saying, I'm not sure who gives Sancho his advice. Ten Hag had bent over backwards for Sancho over the last year, and this is how you repay him. Vincent saying here, well, when did work experience in a reggae shop? When did work experience in a reggae shop that sells reggae music? We used to put the annoying songs. You need to fill in the gaps so I can read this properly. But yeah, I think we can gather what you're saying there. You know, Birmingham is a big reggae place. A lot of Jamaicans there, and a lot of UB40s fans as well. That's where they come from. So I can imagine Vincent being a UB40 fan. Given Losa, how you doing? Big up to everyone on the panel. He's saying here, turned into a soap opera. So we call this our club. True. Emma's saying here, I honestly can't be asked to talk or hear about this again. We did say this yesterday. That's not the title of the show. We are going talking about Brighton today. Sancho's flopped. Brian's in the house as well, saying Sancho needs to grow up. I love Kat saying here, no, Ten Hag is right. Would Sancho have got away with this under Fergie? No chance. All players like Beckham, Keane, and many more thought they could do what they wanted and what they want. Fergie made them all winners. Vincent saying here, and before you ask, the number one record CD that's old was Reggae Cover Volume 14, Reggae Hits Volume 14, probably. I don't know. Zoe Media has said, I think Ten Hag is shooting himself in the foot with Sancho. This could be the start of the end of Ten Hag now, as he will be under extreme pressure to win games and everything will be under the microscope. That's interesting. It's a different kind of point of view. Good to have that on the show. Given Lowe's saying, even if Sancho apologised, he still deserves detention. You can't bring the dressing room into disrepute. Boxer saying here, third season for Sancho and he's still underperforming, acting like a child, no maturity. Very, very, very disappointing. Lucifer, good morning. How you doing? Emma saying here, for all we know, Sancho will have a good talk with Ten Hag tomorrow and it will be good again. I'm tired of these reports, she's saying here. And yeah, we know about this. Let's talk about Maguire's mum defending him as well. All right, bath time, please. I've been waiting.
That's such an unfair thing to call you, Amondo, from Matthew Bassett there, Maguire's mother.
I did write that for her.
Yeah.
Go on. I want to hear what Bath has got to say about this because you've got a different opinion,
Right.
which is great.
I've got quite a lot to say on this. The first thing is that this is appalling all round from everyone. What has happened? Mr. B talked about it earlier, but that he's an £85 million player, and he's not going to play for the football club again. And a lot of it is to do with how he's been managed. I know all of you love like punishment and rewards and all these things. In terms of motivation, they're terrible, right? Because you have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, and it's the joy of doing something. Extrinsic motivation is where you do something for the outcome. And in the way Ten Hag manages, the outcome is punishment or reward, right? These are clinically proven to be the least effective motivators of behaviour. I am really embarrassed that we have a manager that is doing this. You said you think all other managers will look around and say, yeah, that's the way to do it. They won't on Monday. They'll be laughing at Ten Hag because it's beyond amateur hour to do this. Like, in terms of sort of sports science, this has been understood for 30 years. Comes from a paper called Latham and Locke, 1979. And this is something that I do know about. I'm not winging this. I spent at least 5 years of my life studying this kind of thing. I also don't know if you saw the breaking news just before we came on about how Sancho was asked to apologise to Ten Hag by either Murtaugh or Arnold and refused, and then said that there have been double standards applied in training where some players are penalised and punished and some players aren't. And that is why he referred to him as a scapegoat. Is that he feels that it's been unfair how things have been applied to him. And I just think I'm so embarrassed by all of this. I'm not defending Sancho in this case because I think he's... Cheers, Box. I think that like Sancho has acted like a child in this situation. But it's so crazy what Ten Hag is doing. Like, if you go back and look at football managers who have dragged their players in front of the media, you'll look at people like Darren Bent. Do you remember when Harry Redknapp said even my missus could have scored that goal? When Darren Bent missed an easy one. He came out and spoke about how at that moment he knew the manager wasn't going to be there for him and the relationship was wrecked. Like, everyone talks, right, about Alex Ferguson and what he would be doing. Do any of you know what happened to Ferguson at Rangers?
When he was a player?
Yeah.
Go on, tell a story. Let's hear this.
Rangers basically went undefeated through a whole season alongside Celtic, and in the last at the dog end of the season, Ferguson missed a penalty in a 0-0 game, and it handed the title to Celtic. And then in the final that year, Rangers were beat 4-0, I think, and Ferguson lost his man at a corner for one of the goals and became the most hated player in Scotland. Like, the treatment that Maguire is getting was comparable to what Alex Ferguson got in Scotland. And also, because he was married to a Catholic woman, there's obviously a lot of sectarianism in Glasgow at the time. Yes, thank you, Vincent. He didn't feel loved by the club, and he was hated by the fans. And Ferguson, he rarely dragged players in public because of this. He only did 3, I think. I mean, he did them after they left the football club, like Owen Hargreaves. But Alex Ferguson would never, ever have done to Sancho what Ten Hag did to him, and I'm really concerned by everything that's happening at the club, because this is amateurish all round. Ten Hag, Sancho, Murta, it is awful. And that's my thoughts on it, which, by the way, I think I researched quite well. So come at me, lads.
Mr. B, you can go first, or we can just both double team in.
Yes, please.
Me in? Yeah.
I mean, look, obviously, I don't really have a problem with what's been done. Actually, I'm glad it's been done. It keeps discipline in the house. But we now have an issue at our club where we are losing players. We've got players injured. We've got players that have forced to leave the club. We've got players who are forced to be suspended. And now we've got another one who is forced to be in training. It's turning into a bit of a nightmare. We were short of players anyway. This is just on our strictly playing level. We were short of players anyway. We've got players at the club who we don't deem good enough, who didn't get sold. So at some stage, those players are going to have to play because the numbers simply don't add up. Unless he's going to be really, really blooding the youth, which Ten Hag doesn't do. We've seen what he did last season in the games that he played. He played those players to death because those are the ones he trusted. So unless these players start earning his trust really, really early, players like Bruno are going to be playing, another 50 games for the season. Rashford is going to play virtually every single game. Martial is going to play 4 games, become injured, and don't play for the rest of it. So we've got to hope that Hojlund's back holds up. So it is really, really. My thing is more of the playing side of it. It doesn't look like Sancho's going to back down. I can't see him back. He's train on his own. That's cool, isn't it? He's still going to be picking up his 350 G a week. He's still going to be probably flying out to New York when he can. I mean, does anybody even know if that was sanctioned? Does anything come out about that? Whether the trip was sanctioned? Nobody knows. I mean, so there's so much things that could have been the catalyst for it, as well as the apology. Nobody. I mean, we're not going to know. I mean, he's got a press conference tomorrow. Good grief. Ten Hag is on his best days. Don't like answering questions other than football questions. So the press conference tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, just to go back to what Bathtime was saying, I think, look, the consistency is what you need. I think there's a term, isn't there, called AWOL. If you go absent without leave in the army, where it's regimented and disciplined, and you got some order, that it's functional. You get people functioning properly. I know a lot of kids who are a bit dysfunctional, and sometimes the solution is for them to go into the army because it gives them some discipline. They learn to take pride in things and be part of a team. A lot of kids that are like gone wayward, when they're young.
Nigel Benn.
Yeah, Nigel Benn. Look, that's a great example, actually. A really good example. Well done. You're helping my case here. Yeah, but Nigel Benn, he went into the army. I've read his book, and it done him the world of good because he became a disciplined, I was going to say, a raver and thing, but no, that didn't help in that respect. But it helped him a lot, and he learned to make your bed, shine your shoes, be part of a team, be very disciplined. All these things really help, and I do like that. I do think I was young once, and I remember needing that discipline, and I got that. I imagine I know I'm not going to go too personal here, but I was living with my mum. My mum and dad broke up. I was living with my mum, and then I started to sort of. My mum was good at some things, but she couldn't give me the discipline. Didn't have that fear, and I started to go wayward, and I started to be a really naughty kid, and just taking the pee. What changed is my dad. She sent me to live with my dad, and he just raised his voice, and I nearly pee myself, you know. And he taught me real discipline, and he taught me how to be a man. And that's why I believe that all children and all adults, sometimes, if you're misbehaving, you need discipline. This is why people go to prison and they're supposed to be rehabilitated, because you're going to be told what to do. You get up at this time, you do, you know, it's all regimented, and that's the idea of it, to get people into, you know, back into functioning shape. I know it's a bit, you might not agree with the sort of comparison there, but I do think when the manager's doing it right, and I do think other managers will be looking at it and saying, oh my God, you know, this is good. At least it doesn't matter how much he costs. Doesn't matter if it's Ronaldo, one of the best players in the world. The manager is sticking to his guns, sticking to his policy. If you transgress his policy, there will be consequences, repercussions, like I said before. So I like the idea of that. I understand your argument, bath time, but you're saying it's amateurish. I think it's more professional. What's amateurish is letting people get away with murder and not look. You said about Cantona calling people. Ferguson calling people now. When Cantona kicked that guy, the Kung Fu kick, we all know what was said in the change room. He said, "You didn't do your job. You didn't do your job. You didn't do your job." Then he said to Cantona something like, "Oh, you can't do that, mate." You know, because he has to. That's managing the team, managing personalities, trying to get the best out of people. That's being amateurish, in my opinion. You got to be consistent with everyone to get that respect. You understand what I'm saying? And I know people say, "Oh, well, you know, someone in the change room think, well, how come he's getting away with that? There's double standards here. He just Kung Fu kicked someone." You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I think being professional is being disciplined and by the book, and like there's God's law. If you transgress God's law, there's there's going to be a price to pay. And I think if you break a law in a business or a policy or something like that, there will be consequences and price to pay. Because look at the youngsters looking at Sancho. They will know now, I can't play. This manager ain't playing. And because people are always looking for weaknesses. You guys are boss. You control people. But you look at people and you always look. Is there a weakness in this person? How can I break them down? In my job at work, kids are always looking at me and saying they can't get nothing from me because I don't break down. I'm always consistent. They can't accuse me of nothing. Can't get me in any way, twist me up in any way, because I don't show weakness at all. They're looking for chips in my armor. I don't show it, and that's why I've been there so long, and that's why I'm good at my job. But other people come in and they're a bit weak, vulnerable, and people know how to find the weakness. It's like that karate punch or something. We find the weakness in the wall, and you can break the wall. That's what Sancho's doing. This is what footballers do. They look for weaknesses in manager. I can take the mickey out of this coach now. And once that happens, it escalates. So I like the manager's style. I support that. But I do understand the psychological experiment or whatever that theory is you've produced. It does make sense, but I think in this time I'm backing the manager, and I think he's right.
Well, I find it interesting to hear Alex Ferguson's management described as amateurish, because what he's showing there is that you have to treat people as individuals and not have a blanket law. We have blanket laws, to sort of we don't want to hold people to the standards of criminal law. You can do bad things without breaking the law, and we don't like it. But what Ferguson did is that he understood that people are motivated by different things. And I think he used to shout at Rooney in the dressing room, but what he was saying was meant for Ronaldo, because he knew how to handle these people. And this is my big thing about Ten Hag, is that I think that he believes he's in the army. But you're not in the army. You're meant to be leading a group of players to be the best that they can be and perform well. And from what we're seeing, it's not working on Monday. It would not surprise me if this actually does lead to a genuine player revolt. Like people, but people are
So
never happy.
what do you think he should? So what do you think he should have done then? Bath time. What do you think? What do you think he should have done?
I think. Well, I said what I think. I speculated that I think that Ten Hag said one thing to Sancho and another thing to the press. He should never have spoken about Sancho in a derogatory manner in front of the press. And I think that it should have sat down and been mediated. They're both adults and they're both meant to be working towards the same thing. And I think that it's both of their pride what has put us in this situation. And Ten Hag is the manager, and he's got to manage these situations. I don't think that Sancho has acted well at all. But when you're a top manager, paid the top dollar at the biggest club in the world, you've got to be able to handle these situations. And I don't think it's been handled well.
Yes. You haven't answered. You still haven't answered me.
I did. I said they needed to sit down.
What do you think he should have?
And
so didn't they sit down with Murdoch and Arnold?
From what I've read, it was like a three-way. It was like one was talking to Murtaugh and then Murtaugh would go and talk to the other one. That's my understanding of the situation. But I think that they should have sat down and had a plan to resolve it. And I don't think that they had. I don't think Ten Hag went in like that. I think he went in getting his bollocks out, trying to show he's the big man again. And you've got to remember, them players will have looked at what happened with De Gea, and they won't like it.
All right, can we go for some comments here?
How do you know they won't like it? How do you know they won't? Anyway, yeah, go on.
No, go. How would you know? Yeah.
Before we go into our game.
All right, let's just go for the comments because there's a lot of chat here going on about this. Zoe Media House agrees with you, saying what I find annoying is the fans that begged the club to sign Jadon Sancho from Dortmund. Man United tried for 2 windows to get Sancho, and then the same fans are hanging Sancho out. Jimmy Mack saying here, must have been sanctioned. Wan-Bissaka ain't a bad boy, is he? Big up to Alex, by the way. Big up, giving loads of saying here.
Yeah, because he was out there as well.
Yeah.
Eric Ten Hag last year literally spoon-fed Sancho last year and protected him at the same time for him not even to say sorry, boss. It's not right. Society nowadays don't have time for this anymore. Mixed bag with the comments. Boxer don't care if it's Sancho's 300 season. Fact is, even if you're banged on to sign Sancho when he was at Dortmund, now you're hanging him. Remember, fans broke Twitter once because it was trending. Emma saying here the whole thing should have been sorted in private. Nobody should have said anything about the other, even if asked. I'm over it now. Jimmy Mack saying must have been just about to send the family to the army. Zoe Media House again is saying Sancho saga is 100% Ten Hag's fault. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Jim Mack is saying here Cantona was kicking racism before it's even cool. Jale is saying here Sancho saga is that he gets paid 350k a week. He does not even show up on training at the time. The manager is fed up with that sort of attitude. Sancho did this at Dortmund, and he also did this under Pep as well. DK is saying here, agreed regarding Box. All Jadon Sancho had to do is knock on the manager's door, said off. He flew off the handle and went on social media immature. His choice. He's now alienating himself from his teammates. Want to say hi to Big Awa. How you doing? I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Welcome to the channel, by the way. He says, I'm seeing Ten Hag being sacked in the near future if he doesn't change his ways and the way he treats players. Mins, no one is perfect. Okay, no one's perfect. So you're sort of saying Ten Hag's...
Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't understand what he was supposed to have done. If the player... He's manager of the club. If you let the player get away with what he's been getting away with, then it leads to anarchy, and then he's gone. He's gone because then nobody's going to give a shit. Those players who want to come to training late, who don't want to put the effort in, then what happens?
It's because, Mr. B, it's not just one incident, is it? It's been building for quite a long time, where Ten Hag apparently wasn't allowed, wasn't given permission to talk about Sancho's mental health. and things like that. He's called himself a scapegoat, so there's been a sort of like a catalyst. There's been a catalyst, which is what like Ten Hag said in the press conference, but it's been there bubbling for months, and that's the point. Is it hasn't been managed well, and this is and this is what we've got to.
I think when people are saying, "Oh, I'm a scapegoat, it's not my fault," that kind of thing, to me, you got to take responsibility. You got to, and I think we've got problems in our club for a long time now. We need a manager to come in, like a troubleshooter, and just lay down the law and get it back to sort of basics. Because I just think this is ridiculous. And what's happening here is like clearing the swamp, as Trump says. He's come to clear the swamp. What we're doing now, we're clearing the swamp again with our football club, because now we're filtering out and we're identifying who the real bad eggs are. And I don't care if we're left with a team that is not good enough and ends up mid-table. I just want players there that are there for the right reasons.
Yes, you bloody would. Oh, yes, you would.
I would, but I'm not caring that much. Rather than have these prima donnas at the club, which will continue to drain, drain the swamp, but which continue to sort of jeopardise the club long term. We've got to come in short term, bang them out, get rid of them, filter them out of the club, and then start again with the right attitude. Bath time, you always talk about community, which being a community club, right attitude. These things are important, and I think we could come to agreement. Bath time, you know, like Bob Marley with the two Jamaican rivaling.
No, I don't.
We can come together, hold hands, and and say, yeah, it might be war, but we come together in peace talks and resolve this and have some agreement on this.
Yeah, no, I can understand.
I think we do
your
agree
point.
a lot. I do understand your point. I want to have peace talks with you and agree with you on this.
We're not at war, Omondi. Like, you're being dramatic.
I know I'm being dramatic.
Like, I mean, it's like I'll tell you what was interesting to me today was that. Did any of you see Martial and what he did today? No.
No.
Hilarious.
It's Martial turned up for training at 5 to 9 a.m. and training wasn't until 1 p.m. But he was obviously just so terrified about what was going on that he got to work early, and that's funny and stuff. But that also
he got to work 4 hours early.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he stay?
No, he turned up for 5 minutes and then drove back, and everyone was worried he was injured, but he just couldn't tell the time. So maybe it is, but one thing I would like to just finish my point on this on is I don't believe you get the best out of people by ruling through fear. And I think that this is what Ten Hag is doing, and I think that everyone in that club has really got to up their standards. I'm not just having to go at Ten Hag, it's the players as well. They're all behaving like children, and they've got to kill their egos and be about the team. And I'm not sure that any of them are at the moment.
That's probably why you're still a player, Bath Time, and me and Mr. B are managers, and we're siding with the manager on this one.
It's also my fitness why I'm still a player.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do.
Right. And that comes with discipline. And
yes.
you have.
Those 6K runs every morning.
Yeah. Good comeback. All right. Shall we move on? Before we do, I just want to say hi to Shah.
Yeah.
Shah, how you doing? He's saying awesome show. Appreciate that, man. And obviously, look, guys having different opinions here. Big up to Jay, Billy, Josh. How you doing, man? So these footballers today rule the game, not the club or managers, unless you have won a bit like Klopp and Pep. And Hydro as well is in the house. I've mentioned him already, but he said players are like snowflakes. They need to grow up. Brian, how you doing? He said loved it when they signed Sancho from Dortmund. Sancho has become a big time flop though. And so many comments here, so many comments. We'll leave it as that. We come on because I want to talk about the game. We've been saying this for a long time.
Yes,
we spent half an hour talking about Sancho.
I do. Yeah, I know. It was supposed to be a short topic, but like with anything else we do, with the comments rule the roost. So you extended us, but guys, it's game time. Yeah. In a couple of days, and this is the most important part. Yeah, finally we can actually talk about football. We might kick off the game, might finish, and we don't want to talk about football. I mean, it could be one of those weekends, to be fair. But look, Varane's still injured. Mount has been training. He has obviously would have been available. He's said making himself available for a buying game, which means he's fit. I did fret when I saw the pictures of Martial leaving training. Obviously digging deeper, we realised that he did get in there 4 hours early, so he's fit. Lindelof fit. Martinez, did he actually get any game time? On international duty?
I think he's a doubt, isn't he?
That's a question, by the way. Okay, so we should have just bloody stayed at home instead of getting an aeroplane.
The chat will tell us, but I don't think that. I think he just trained with the RGs. I don't think he played.
Box is always in the know.
Yeah.
And the answer is no. It's no game time. Good. Did you mention Kobe? Did you mention about Kobe about team news? Is he on the way back? Kobe Mainoo?
No, but he did post something. He did post something last week about something implying that it's only a matter of time before he's back.
The Manchester Evening News posted that he was back in training and then deleted it.
All right.
Okay. Amrabat is probably the key one that I want to ask about. Obviously, he left Morocco, went out there, came back as a precaution. I really hope this back thing isn't as serious as it is. Normally, I try and watch one of my mates try and send me a couple of their training videos, but nothing's been released, so we have no idea whether he's been training or not. But even if he was, I don't think he would be starting. I don't think Ten Hag would be starting him in a game straight off the bat. He tends to ease them in a bit. Brighton TVs, I'll be honest, I don't care about Brighton. I hope Evans isn't playing. Evan Ferguson isn't playing. And yeah, that's me being really honest. What are you guys thinking?
What, for the lineup?
Yeah.
Well, regarding team news and everything, I think look, what do you think, Barbara? There's a lot of players out who could be on the cusp of coming back.
I don't think that we will see Amrabat start. He just hasn't. I don't think he's done enough proper training over the last couple of months to come in. He's had a small injury, so I'd like to see him come on when we're 3 or 4-0 up, but I don't know about that one. I think Hojlund, he has to start. I believe that he missed out against San Marino for Denmark, so hopefully, that's his. He's only allowed 1 game a week or something, so hopefully we can get him in for this. And I think that Casemiro is probably going to start at centre back in this game.
What?
Yeah. If Martinez is injured, right? Anyway, think about this, right? If you have Lindelof, Martinez, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you are extremely vulnerable to crosses, in the air. None of that's the weakest part of all of their game is defending crosses. Okay, so you need height in there. I don't know if he would put Maguire in with them, but you need someone who's good in the air and who can pass the ball. And I think he's going to play Casemiro, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, and Dalot in defence because we need height and we need the ability to dominate that box aerially. And the only 2 players that can do it are Maguire and Casemiro.
Wow. That's a big call. Sometimes I wonder if you've got a hotline to Eric Ten Hag and you're sort of dropping spoilers to us that we think are ridiculous, but it turns out to be true. I don't want to. I've learned not to sort of trash your opinions sometimes by half time, but sometimes they do turn out to be prophetic in a way. But I don't know about the Casemiro centre back. I don't think he's good in the air. Yeah, granted, he can.
He played there last season for a game.
Yeah, he did. But I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't see that happening.
Do you think he'll play Evans?
I think he'll play Maguire.
Play Maguire.
I think why not? Why not? I mean, look, after what his mum said as well, he doesn't want his mum on his back now. So he's got enough heat as it is. So the last thing you want is his mum writing stuff about the managers won't play him and let him down. I think it'd be a great confidence boost if he plays Maguire.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work out on Monday.
Yeah, but and if it backfires, then what happens?
Yeah.
On who?
On Maguire.
It's all
From
Maguire's
himself.
the one who takes the heat. He's one. No one else takes heat. Southgate don't take heat. No Man United manager takes heat. You know, Maguire gets it all himself. I think Maguire should look. Maguire played international football during the week. He's got game time. I know he's been, abused for the own goal or whatever happened and thing. But I just think, come on, if you're realistic, give the guy confidence. This is as you were saying about man management.
Omondi, what the hell are you talking about on Monday?
Hear my point. But after we talk about man management, this is good man management. The man's been under pressure. Bring him in and say, go play at home and get the fans behind you and show the England fans that we can back our guy and get a good result because of it. Think about it. Think about the psychology behind that.
Reading between the lines of Monday, like I get the impression that Maguire might have cracked at the weekend. Like his mum coming out with the statement, like Southgate furious, Ramsey and McTominay have been posting in favour of him today. I think something went down after that game, and I want Casemiro at centre back because I think that no football player, unless it's Sancho or Cavani, is going to say I don't want to play. Like Maguire will say he wants to play, but I think at this point now he might actually need to protect him as a human being because it's too much. There's been too much noise about it, like from too many people for something not to have happened. Like, can you ever remember someone's mum like posting a statement about my boy's a good right-sided centre back? He's got good distribution, can break the lines. I don't know what people are talking about. When has that ever happened?
I remember there's a boxing
Who
fight.
said that? Is that?
Do you remember that? There's a boxing fight, and the mum was watching, and she came with a handbag or something.
She was
Started beating the guy because he was beating up. And Joe Joyce's mum
Was that with Collins?
Hey?
Was that with the Irish fighter Collins?
No, I don't think it was Collins. It was I can't remember.
No, I think it was an amateur fighter. I think it was more amateur. Yeah, I think it was a lesser level one. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, Joe Joyce's mum is really vocal. And I remember she almost said something to say they stitched him up when he lost to Zhang recently. She came in on the interview and said something which she had to be hushed quickly. Joe Joyce hushed her up, said, "Look, mum, don't say that," saying that they stitched him up.
Beat him up, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly. Moving on. But I do look. I think Maguire, as Box says here, Maguire's third or fourth choice for a centre back. Varane's out. Martinez is out. Maguire's coming in as a no-brainer. Yeah. Oh, it's gone silent. Anyway,
I think the silence says it all.
I love Cratch saying I thought about it, but no thanks to Maguire. So it's divided opinion again. Maguire, you can't polish a turd, guys. We've got two of our main centre backs out. Luke Shaw's not even there. Vaughan sold out.
I'm not selling out Maguire. I like Maguire and I support him. I'm saying that for his best interest, I think he needs to be taken. He needs not to play football for the next two games.
Okay, fair enough. So
come back for Burnley, yeah.
We're trying to devise a team here, but really, what really matters is the solo 11, don't you think? Rather than what we're trying to come up with, because we're getting nowhere. So can we drum roll?
Oh, sorry, the drum fell off.
Is that Anthony?
No, where?
This is last.
Right wing.
Oh shit, my eyes are so bad. Oh, I posted up the wrong one. Oh damn, guys, that's not Anthony. That's supposed to be Palestri. So anytime we're talking about the right wing, it's supposed to be. Anyway, this is Solo's team. Blame Solo. Yeah, blame Solo.
Solo would do, innit?
Blame Solo.
Let
me see if I can change this.
Because the defence is so important, isn't it? All right, so there's no issue with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, to do it on Monday, I want to see if I can alter this.
All right, so there's no issue with the goalkeeper. We're happy with that, aren't we? I imagine. The left back situation, no Luke Shaw. So you're still going with Dalot. And you were saying about heading ability. You mentioned Dalot would be good in defence, didn't you, for half time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that everyone seems to think that Wan-Bissaka never gets beaten and all this sort of stuff. But a lot of crosses came in from his side against Arsenal. from Martinelli, and Delo was exceptional defending them at the back post. And I think we might be getting a similar situation with your man Minimoto or Matoma in it.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I think that Delo and Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof and Onana are all nailed on. It's if Martinez isn't fit is the thing that I wonder about, and as I said, I think it's Casemiro.
Okay, Lindelof. What do you think about Lindelof Bath time? He's come into the side. He's always been that guy coming off the bench and always has to be ready. But
I like him.
Do you think he's under any pressure? Or would people forgive him if he makes mistakes? Because he's not regular.
Lindelof and Maguire are like, they're called the Chuckle Brothers, Busted Sofas, all these sort of things, and yet they've I think that they played pretty well together for about 2 years. And Lindelof, I like. He's obviously got that problem with strength in the air, and he's not an elite centre back. Like he'd be in every top 4 squad, but never as a starter. But how insane he is about not letting his man turn. He will pursue someone to the halfway line to stop them turning. And I think Ten Hag likes that. And I think that as a squad player and a rotation player, Lindelof is pretty top grade. Okay. So I'm a fan of him as a squad player.
Okay, while Mr. B's doing his work, Shah saying here we can't have the wing backs attacking. We are going to get undone on the counter. Erik Ten Hag does not have the centre backs to cover the wing backs. Lindelof or Maguire aren't quick enough, so he's concerned there. Big up to Vincent Demise, our Dutch correspondent. He's saying here the reason Erik Ten Hag hates Maguire's player profile is because he has to set up a whole anti-football team tactics around him. His defenders are the attack, but not when Maguire plays. So that's a good insight into the Maguire situation. Boxers saying here Lindelof, I have a love-hate relationship with. He's been there a long time, hasn't he? And yeah, doesn't get much heat. He's quite cool. But like you said, I agree with you, Bartham. He's not like the elite kind of player on the pitch. So I can't work this out regarding who we're going to play. But Shah is also saying here, Dalot on the left and Wan-Bissaka on the right. Yeah. I would go with that. That's
a given, isn't it?
It depends on availability, doesn't it, with the centre-backs, I imagine.
Yeah.
Should we go to midfield?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Casemiro, you're saying him at centre-back, but if Martinez does play, you would play him at centre midfield?
Yes. Yeah, Casemiro will play. Like if Casemiro.
Can I ask if he played at centre back? Mm-hmm. If he played him at centre back, who would play at centre mid? Who would play midfield?
It would. I think it would start as McTominay, but that's only because Amrabat isn't fit enough. And then
I hope he doesn't pick your team. I hope he doesn't pick your team.
If Martinez is out for Bayern as well, I think it would be Casemiro at centre-back and Amrabat at the 6.
Okay. What does it take? I mean, I was saying a few weeks ago that when you could have a week of training, and you could be match fit, I believe. You could do like 11-11 or do the runs and drills, and the people watching, observing would say, yeah, he looks ready.
Oh,
he's ready
God.
to go.
I put the wrong person up there again. Oh, for God's sake!
Is that Alvaro Fernandez you brought?
Oh, yes, it is bloody Fernandez. See, this is what happens when you try and rush stuff. Just don't.
He's playing inside the left foot, is he?
Don't worry, Ten Hag will probably think that that's Pellistri as well.
Yeah. All right, we know who it is. I must say, though, your image of the striker looks cool. He's got his hands on his hips, like, yeah, look at me, chest out. He looks ready to go.
It's a very first day of school photo.
What? Say again?
It's a very first day of school photo.
Yeah.
Look at me uniform, Mum.
It does look like that a bit. He's very proud, isn't he, wearing his shirt like that? So what about the other two then? He's gone with Eriksen and Bruno. I think Bruno's a must. And yeah, against Brighton, when I'm thinking about them, they've got a new midfield virtually. They've sold McAllister and Salcedo. They've got. I've watched them a couple of times. They've got beat. I don't see any threats there, but I think it's no issue really. we're putting Eriksen in. So I would go with those three as well. I'm with you, Mr. B, or Solo, whoever's put up his team. Mr. Bath Time, what do you reckon?
Depends. It depends on Mount's fitness. If Mount isn't fit,
Yeah.
I think Bruno is playing right wing.
Oh, okay.
And I think that what you might get is you might get Eriksen, McTominay, and Amrabat. Like, it just depends on if Mount's fit. Because if Mount's fit, I think he plays right wing, and Bruno plays his normal position.
Just to throw something at you, Bath Time. If you talk about being match fit, I think it'd be a great introduction to play Amrabat at home against Brighton,
yes,
rather than put him against Bayern Munich.
I completely agree. An away debut in the Allianz Arena is not something that, even on an experienced player, it's not something that you want to be doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Amrabat hasn't done proper training for months now. Like, I'm sure he's kept his fitness up and all that sort of stuff, but like he hasn't played football for a very long time. So I would start Amrabat, and I would take him off like after 60 minutes or whatever, as opposed to bring him on for 20 minutes, because we're pretty short all over the squad at the moment, and I do honestly think Casemiro has to play centre back if Martinez isn't fit.
Box saying here, Eriksen really surprised him versus Arsenal. Bar the Odegaard goal, he showed bite, tenacity, broke up the play, and was box to box. Zoe saying here, I can see Maguire and Lindelof starting against Brighton. That's all dependent, isn't it, on Martinez. Shaw saying here, if Shaw wasn't injured, he would be playing alongside Lindelof over Maguire. So he reckons Shaw is third choice centre back. There you go. Yeah, so I'll go with that midfield. That midfield looks decent to me, and we got to turn it up at home. And Bruno, just to say to Bruno, he's got like some mad stats at international level. In the last 8-10 games, he's got so many goals and assists. And they whooped aside Luxembourg, I think it was 9-0 the other day. And he was just like serving everyone up on the plate, spoon feeding strikers, even got a goal as well. So his confidence is high. And I think when you look at like from the outside as a neutral, some people say, I've spoken to my friends in Europe. And I've got a friend in Holland, and he says Bruno's fantastic, and he reckons that now Ronaldo's gone from the international side, Bruno will be come to the fore and be one of these top players, and he thinks Portugal one of these sides that could go and win the next tournament, the Euros or something, with the players.
A lot of good players.
We need to put some respect on his name. I know we're hard on our own players, but I think Bruno, if we didn't play for Man United, we'd be saying, wow, this guy's fantastic, because since he's come to United, his profile's huge, and he's doing stuff, and his attitude is right as well, and he's our captain as well. So yeah, I big up to Bruno for what he did at international level, and I want to see him transform that into the Premiership. And forget this, I know that he gets everyone says, he doesn't do it in big games, but we're just getting too critical here. He's a top player, and he just
needs to clean himself up a bit, Omondi, with his sort of general play. It's like he's now at the age where he's old enough to understand his position. He's old enough to experienced enough to deal with all this kind of stuff. And he still occasionally makes really dumb decisions and like does stupid things. And you just like, for a really top player with a top platform at Man United, you just want him to be more refined.
Just, I know we can go back in time, but can we talk about the defence? What about Reguilon? I haven't heard much about him. Is there a possibility he might play? Have you heard anything? I don't know.
No, I mean, there's a possibility he could play, yeah.
It could be. I mean, he's not an international, so Ten Hag would have seen him for the 2 weeks. Maybe.
Yeah, Ten Hag's been on holiday.
Well, he would have got somebody to watch him. Maybe he's got a Nest doorbell sitting down in the training ground to watch him, you know what I mean?
I hope so. But would you trust Reguilon, Martinez, Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka defending aerials? I wouldn't at all. That's easy to bully that.
I think they need. I've said with Reguilon, I think he probably needs to be eased into it. Johnny Billy Justice should have none of it, boy. Yeah, I think they probably needs to ease him in a bit, to be fair.
And also, I think the other thing is it depends on how well he links up with Rashford. Like if he's bombing up and down and getting Rashford lots of nice space on the inside, then yeah, there's a possibility he could play if he's like enabling like Rashford to do better. But I would, I just wouldn't.
I'm playing Dello. I don't think Dello played
Yeah,
well against Arsenal.
he
I'm
was
playing
man of the
Dello.
match against Arsenal. I think it would be really unfair to drop him for a Spanish loanee.
Okay. Mr. B, we didn't get your thoughts on the midfield. You down with what Solo's put here? Those three?
Yeah, I mean he had the Ericsson one. I think he's earned his spot. I think when Mount comes back, Mount's going to be moved. Yeah, I think Mount's going to be moved. Ericsson was, I know it's only international and then they weren't playing great team, but he was majestic in the 2 games that he played.
Where do you think Mount's going?
He did some things I'm thinking, okay. I think Mount will go right. I think if Mount comes in, he's going to go on the right. He's not going to move Rashford. Yeah, right wing.
Yeah.
He's not going to move Rashford. That's Rashford's danger position. Ericsson, I think it will probably earn it until Amrabat is fit, and then Amrabat will probably go in there. But I think that he'll go right.
You think Amrabat's going to take Ericsson's position?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it's good to have a big squad. We have to really consider that. There's 2 players there, or 3 or 4 players that we want to argue about. First team. Look at, I've just seen Donny van der Beek, as Zoe's mentioned. That's someone who wouldn't be in the reckoning. At least when you got Amrabat, we've always demanded this. We want more people competing for that first team spot.
He's in the Prem squad though.
Who, Donny?
Yeah.
They might as well put you in the Prem squad, Mr. B. Like, we're not going to see Donny playing, like, unless things go really bad and half the team is training with Sancho.
The Big Lebowski says you're out of your effing element, Donny. I think he is. I agree with Bath time. You're not going to see much of Donny van der Beek. And I would rather see players fighting for the position like Amrabat, McTominay, and where we can't even pick our team. Going to the strike. Sorry, we didn't talk about the striker. I forget about the other 2. I would go Rashford. I would go on the right. Bruno, maybe. I think that's a good shout by Bath time. But I want to talk about the big boy there, the one with his school photo, as Bath time said, holding hands on hips, chest out, skin and teeth. I think he's ready, and I'm really excited to see him at Old Trafford. I know you're going to miss the game, Mr. B, because you're playing football, but I will be sitting there on my fire stick and taking it all in. I just think he's been magnificent. I can't wait to see what he's got. I think he's going to have a great future at the club. He's taking it all on his chest. He seems like he's got a good personality. I haven't even really heard him give an interview or anything, but I like what I see, when he came on the other day. Even my mate at football, he goes to all the Arsenal games, and he said, man, that striker really put it on our set of centre-backs, Gabriel Mud and Saliba. And he was there live, and he said, wow, he looks a special player. So I like the physicality side of things, and I like the fact that finally we get to see someone we've been waiting for a long time, who we believe is going to be scoring goals. His work rate, his strength, his power, his running power, especially his speed. We saw glimpses of it against Arsenal in a game that I thought we performed pretty well in. And I'm really excited about him, and I would start him. There's no question about it. I think we need to start giving him a run of games and getting him used to the side. And this is be the true ID going forward. We can forget about Sancho and all this negative thing about Anthony as well. Let's just talk about the new guys, Amrabat and the striker coming through. And I just think everyone needs to tune in, watch the full 90 minutes, and come back and join us on the after show and just tell us how excited you were about the performance, because we're going to win.
I don't know if we're going to win, but I'm really excited to see Hojlund go up against Dunk. I rate Dunk as a player, and I think that he's probably better than any centre-back that Bayern Munich have, to be honest. Like, with legit Upamecano and Kim. I think that Lewis Dunk is a really, really good person to have your first full game against. He's wily, he's difficult, he lacks a bit of pace, but he's strong. And I think that if Hojlund does well against him, then I'm fully on board, because I was really impressed what I saw at Arsenal, and I really want to see that again. So I'm very excited to see him going up against a proper centre half. and hopefully absolutely shitting on him.
Yeah. All right. I'll just go to scoreline. I think we're going to win. I do think we're going to win. Look, Brighton away from home. We got good home record. Let's not forget that. I just think there's so many things to prove. I think we need to get on side again. The fans will get on side. All the other stuff, the distractions, take that away for 90 minutes. Support the team, back the team. Even if Maguire's on the pitch, back the team, and that will make the 12th man and give us enough energy and momentum to get the win. And I'm going to say it's going to be tight because I think Brighton are a very difficult side to break down and beat up. But I think we're going to win 2-0. And we've got to, as long as we're sorting out the issues with Brighton, especially their wide guys. There's a guy. What's the guy? I forget his name. Gross.
Solly Marsh. Oh, Gross.
Solly Marsh. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Who's
Solly
the
Marsh
one?
is
Solly
annoying.
Marsh with the left. Who's the guy with the left foot?
Marsh.
I think he's a good player.
I think he's really good as well. That's why I want Delo to play, because I don't trust Reguilon against Solly March. I think Solly March is genuinely one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, and he'd walk into our team. Yeah. But for me, I just, to be honest, all I really want to see, this is how bad it's got, is I want to see a united team. I want the fans behind the players. I want the players representing the fans. I want everyone playing as a team. I want a really good performance. I don't want us sort of sneaking through like we did against Wolves, or having to sort of get a couple of decisions against Forest.
Yeah.
I want to go out with a committed performance that I can understand when I watch. I see there's a plan. I see the players working for each other. And at the moment, I'll take that. I'll take a 1-1 if that happens, because we haven't seen it for a long time, and we need a performance more than we need a result, to be honest.
Mr. B.
I'm actually going to go 1-1. I'm nervous about this one. I know we're at home. I just think that Brighton, De Zerbi's got them playing again. In his style, they've let players go. We said we could talk about their coaching, and they replace him with a cheaper version that does exactly the same job. This system they understand. Our system at the moment we probably don't, to be fair. So I would gladly take a 1-1. I would gladly take a 1-1. I think it's going to be
wow.
I think it's going to be a close game, but yeah, 1-1.
Big G saying here 3-1. I hate to say it, but it's to Brighton. We got 1-1 from Bath Time and 1-1 from Mr. B as well. Given Losa saying here, we will press them high and create a lot of chances at Old Trafford. I see a big score if Rasmus starts. 4-1 United. I like that. I like that a lot. 2-0 United, says Box. Hojlund double. Everyone's excited. We're going to burst Brighton's bubble, says Box as well. King Stash, how you doing? Rather put Wan-Bissaka as a right centre-back and Delo as right-back, or Maguire or Evans. And we're saying 3-0.
Casemiro? What's King Stash? What about Casemiro at centre-back?
Well, we'll see.
You're going to hear the Kings.
I mean, 3-0
coming in a minute.
Big G saying here, Ferguson, Matoma, March, Fatty, they will destroy our weak defence. Fatty's come into the squad. Where would he play? Because I thought he'd be playing Matoma's position. That'd be interesting as well.
He'd probably play it like inside left, like just off the striker.
Okay. Who would be the guy scored a hat-trick last week? I mean, Mr. B was talking about Evan Ferguson doing really well. He's starting to show some good thing, but one was a deflection. I'm still not convinced.
I think he's injured, Omondi. I think he's out for the game. And the one that worries me is my first United love is coming back, which is Danny Welbeck, who I absolutely adored. I love Danny Welbeck so much, and I'm terrified that he's going to score and break my heart.
Here's a stat here. Given Losa saying we have the highest ball retention in the Premier League in the final third. And what, because we studied Brighton last year, don't they look to sucker people in when they're playing out from the back?
They try and make synthetic transitions.
Right.
So what they're trying to do is... Sorry, Mr. B.
No, go. Sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. How they play out?
Yeah, so what they do is normally you will see teams overloading the middle or the top end of the pitch. Brighton overload their defence and they try and bring you in, and then when they've got you in, they go. And
Right.
so they'll play first and second phase play until they've got you up the pitch where they want you, and then they'll explode on you. And they play very safe at the back, so they have 60-70% possession, but they're actually a very one-dimensional team, in the fact that that's pretty much all they do. And a lot of the time, their hidings against West Ham recently and Everton last year were where teams just did not engage with this and sat in a 4-4-2 block and just let them come up the pitch. Like, if you do what everyone wants to do, which is high pressing up the pitch football, we're in trouble against them. If we play a block, we've got a much better chance of beating them, in my opinion.
We'll soon find out. I'll be looking for that. But yeah, so many things to watch out for this Saturday, guys. Tune in. We might be doing a watch along, we might not, but we will definitely be doing our after show as well. So come and talk about the result, depending what mood you're in. Mr. B, Friday night tomorrow. What's on?
We've got an 8:30 show at some stage. Bloody arse. Yeah, we've got the 8:30 show and we've got the takeaway as well. Takeaway back talking Premier League, and we'll throw some fantasy league in there. We've got to update the guys on who's winning and whichever one of us is in 67th place or something ridiculous like that. So that's going to be a short one. Until I'm top 10, I probably won't be doing much of those shows, to be fair. We will have the reaction. We'll have Sunday off, and then we'll be back again on Monday, to be fair.
Brilliant. All right, guys.
Yeah, look, we've gone a little bit over time, which is fine. Guys, if you are still watching, please hit that like button. If you are new to it, hit the subscribe button and hit your notification bell. Alex Tootle's gone 3-2. United to take all 3 points. Well done. I'm not as confident as you, but look, I say every week, every show, thanks for watching. You don't have to be here. We appreciate the fact that you are. From me, Mr. B, on Monday and bath time. We will see you all again tomorrow. We're out.
Good night.